Hi there, I'm Elizabeth with Ellie's Handcrafted Jewelry, and welcome to my channel where I share tips, tricks, and tutorials for those looking to learn the art of wire wrapping and wire weaving. And today I'm going to be showing you how to create these Kelsey earrings. They are really great if you have a variety of shapes of stones. They've worked particularly great for stones that have more of a top or a tip on them, so things like teardrop shapes, but I have used some of the more oblong shapes as well. And they feature a simple prong setting with a little bit of swirly embellishment. You can also make pendants with this design, so if you have just one stone, you can certainly do that. These pairs I actually got from Kazdans, so I'll leave some links in the description below where you can find some more of those if you'd like to try this out. It's really simple. It uses only a couple gauges of wire, and it should only take you a few minutes to do, maybe within an hour to do a pair of earrings. And of course, if you like to have written instructions, I have created a written tutorial for this particular tutorial that you can use along with this video. If you'd like to learn more, you can check it out down below. I've also tagged it here in the video, so you should be able to search it. Also, if you're part of the Artisan Tutorial Vault, you should already have access to this tutorial. If you'd like to learn more about the vault, I'll leave a link in the description below. But before we jump into this video, let's go ahead and say a quick thank you to Kazdans.
Before we get started, I'd like to thank Kazdans for sponsoring this video. Kazdans is a gem seller located in the United States and has a variety of high-quality stones. Search by gemstone, shape, size, quality, and more to find the perfect stone for your project. I've left a link in the description below to their website as well as their Facebook page so that you can stay up to date on any new arrivals or sales.
Alright, to get started, we're going to need a couple of earrings, earring stones. So I got these from Kazdans. She has a lot of pairs available, so I'll leave some links below where you can find those. You're also going to need some 20 gauge wire and 28 gauge weaving wire. For tools, you're going to need flesh cutters, chain nose or flat nose pliers, and some round nose pliers. And of course, you're going to need a ruler and a Sharpie. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my ruler down and place my stone on top. My stone is about 1/8 of an inch thick, and so I'm going to want a little over 1/4 inch, so that way I know that I have enough to cover the bottom of the stone. From there, I'm going to make sure I have enough for the side, so it's going to be an additional inch or so. So we'll say about 1.5 inches. And then we're going to need 3 inches from the top. So 1, 2, 3, because I believe that's about 1 inch. Yeah. So 4 inches. So 4 inches plus the 1.5 inches is 5.5, plus the other, we'll say 1/2 inch. So that would be 10 inches in total. So we'll need to cut 10 inches of wire. I'll also leave the formula in the description below, so that way you can measure your own stones. As you can see, I've done different sizes and different shapes, so you'll want to know that formula. But like I say, overestimate how much wire you need when you start, so add 2-3 inches if you want to, just to make sure that you have enough. So now we're basically going to double that measurement, so this is at the 10-inch mark right here. Oops, if I can see. And I'm just going to bend that in half, compress the wire, like so, and we're going to pull off of the spool, and cut right there. And we're going to do the same with the other wire. Bend it in half. And pull off the spool. Set that down for a second, grab my flesh cutters and trim. So now we got two 20-inch segments that are folded in half, so it is 10 inches long. And we're going to work on both earrings at the same time, so that way we make them as symmetrical as possible. So what I'm going to do, straighten my wire out a little bit. Just running it through my fingers. Okay. grab my stone. So it depends on how much prong you're going to want. You can have more or less, but I just want a little prong, just enough to hold the stone, so about there. Grab my Sharpie and mark the wire, and grab the other wire. I'm going to straighten it out first. So I'm going to turn it and then mark it at the same mark, since these stones are the same size. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it back here at the stone, and you can see I'm sticking it where the Sharpie mark meets the edge of the stone, and then I'm going to bend these wires outward to where they would wrap around the stone. If you're doing a longer stone like this one, you can see here I did it about a third of the way up the stone, but this one you can go a little bit further, about halfway, just because it's a little bit shorter. So we're going to bend it about there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. And then grab the other one. And mark it right there, just like that. From there, I'm going to take my pliers and bend them outward at the mark. So you can see I'm just to the right of the mark and I'm bending outward. Doing the same on the opposite side, just to the right of the mark and then bending outward. I'm going to go ahead and do the same with the other one. Just working each piece together. Just to the right of the mark and out. Just to the mark and out. Like that. So now they are even. Now I'm going to stick this on the back, like so. And mark at the edge of the stone from the center. Like that. And making sure it's center. Like that. Do the same on this one. So just lay it here and copy those marks over. All right, now I'm going to grab my ruler. I'm going to measure the height of the stone. So like I said, this is 1/8 of an inch. And I want it to be about 1/4 of an inch total, because that's what's going to bend up over the stone. There's 1/4 of an inch. Scoot this in for you so you can see. So I've marked 1/4 of an inch from that mark at the edge of the stone. I'm going to move that over to this side, move my stone out of the way, and mark it 1/4 of an inch from that side as well. Now I'm just going to copy those marks over to this side. Just like that. I know it's a lot of marking and everything, but it's so worth it when it's done. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the right of that furthest Sharpie mark at the end and bend that over. And compress the wire, so making like a T or a cross shape. Doing it on the other side. Compress the wire. And now we're going to bend the wire straight up. So it should be folded up over itself. So it's going to make it kind of a cross shape. Just like that. And we're just going to repeat that with the other one. So here we are so far. They are both the same, and the prongs are all ready and all set. Now it's just time to move on to the weaving. So I'm going to set one of these aside. I'm going to scoot this over a little bit so I have more room to work. Now I'm going to grab some weaving wire, and I'm going to start my weave here at the bottom Sharpie mark, right above the prong setting. And we're just going to do a basic lashing weave. So stick our weaving wire on there like so. And then we're going to wrap around this bottom base wire 3 times. So once, wrapping around twice, and 3 times. And then we're going to wrap around both wires 2 times. So going up over these wires, up, around once, up and around twice, and then down and around the bottom 3, or the bottom wire 3 times. So once, twice, and 3 times. And we're just going to repeat that until we reach right there. Now once you've reached this part of the lashing weave, it's time to create, or to kind of bind these together. So I'm going to take my weaving wire and I'm going to cross it over to the other side of my cross here. So once, once, and then twice, like so. And then I'm going to bring it around around this side, and then crossing over the opposite way, back to the same side that I started on. So once, twice, just like that. Get these straightened back up. And then I'm going to start weaving my lashing weave again. You may notice that the direction of your weave may change, and that's okay. So now instead of weaving this way, I'm weaving this way, but it will look the same, so you are okay. So we're just going to continue our lashing weave. Okay, so I continued my weave, and the way I measured it was, if I can move my ruler here where you can see it. So I laid my stone here, and I laid this next to it. So this is the bottom of the stone, or you can even lay it like that, and then lay your stone on top of it, so you have an idea. And you actually want to weave about 2.5 to 3 inches longer than that, so I stuck that here. I marked it, and so I've woven 3 inches, and now we're going to do the same with this wire, but the difference is we're going to reverse the weave so that way it mirrors. So rather than the coil of the weave being on the bottom wire, it's going to be on the top wire, so that way we can get some nice mirrored weaving going on. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this weaving wire off. I'm going to leave a long tail. You're going to want to leave probably 8 to 10 inches to be safe. Scoot that off to the side. Find your weaving wire again. And now, move that over. I'm going to start our weave for the same mark we did, but this time on the top wire. Have enough room here. Got too much stuff in my way. All right, so starting on the top wire, so wrapping around the top wire 3 times. Like so, and then around both wires 2 times. So we're just doing the same exact thing, just starting on the opposite wire. And we're just going to weave until we reach that cross point again. Alright, so when we reach that cross point, we're going to do the same. So going over, crossing over, and then going over the nearest prong, and crossing over to the other side. Make sure these are sitting like they're supposed to. 2 times, just like so, and then I'm going to continue wrapping my weaving wire. So creating another, continuing the lashing weave, just making sure that the coil is on top, and you may notice that instead of weaving this way, now we're weaving that way, or vice versa, and that's okay. And we're just going to weave the same amount that we did with this wire, so they should be matching, and we'll cut off a tail piece for that as well. So at this point I have woven both of these, and now I'm just going to pull off some tail pieces. So I'm just going to do a little pull and twist. There's one. Just doing this with the tail wires, not the excess wire that we have, that we left, the long tail wire. And now we need to determine which side is the back. So this is going to be the side facing the stone, because it's not as pretty as this side. So I'm going to have that set there. Same with that. So turn that around. And now what we're going to do is we're going to grab some pliers. I'm going to move that out of the way. And I'm going to take this wire right where it ends there, bend it straight up. That's where my stone's going to sit. And then I'm going to bend the wire straight up here and straight up here next to the stone, as you see. And the first stones that I'm going to secure, or I should say the first prongs I'm going to secure, are going to be the side prongs, because they will help hold the stone in place. So there's one. Now just doing the other one here, bending it over. Make sure that they match. Oops. So once those are kind of holding things down, then we'll move over to this one. Just bend the wire and compress. Now do this gently with your pliers, because otherwise you can really break your stone. This is a pretty tough stone, but if you have something like malachite or labradorite, you definitely want to be careful. Okay. All right, so there's one stone. Now we're going to do the other one. Just keeping in mind which side is the back and which is the front. So I'm going to bend this wire up. Grab our other stone and sit it in there. And just keeping in mind where the pattern is, so they match. Let's set that there for a second. Set that in there nicely. Bend wire up, bend wire up. Now we're going to create the prongs. way and then bend the bottom wire up. Oops. Just like so. So now we have both stones set. And now I'm going to grab my round nose pliers here, and I'm going to bend this wire forward like that, and then bend this wire backward over my round nose pliers. So I'm not using the round nose pliers as much as just using them as a mandrel. About like that. So we want enough of a hole so that we can fit in a jump ring. Or you can make a pendant out of this as well. And then we're going to take the wire and we're going to bend it at the tip of the stone like that, where the coil is facing down. From there, we're going to hold the bail as we begin to wrap this over the tip of the stone, and then continue to wrap it around again. So that's 2 times, and then start to bring it over just like that. So it should be enough wire there to wrap around the stone a couple times. So now we're going to do the same thing with the other side, just so we keep them as even as possible. So bend this straight over, grab my round nose pliers, stick them in there, bend that straight over, create the bail. Now we're going to bend it the opposite direction, where the coil is facing down, and start wrapping this around the tip of the stone. Wrapping it around one more time. And towards the front. You can adjust as necessary. Now at this point, I'm going to continue wrapping this around. So this is a bare wire. This is the top wire, so this is the one in the 2 part. So it's wrapped together. Let's bring it to the back. Then I'm going to grab my tail piece here. And I'm going to begin coiling my wire. Actually, once you get to a certain point, it gets easier because then you can just wrap around. And we'll probably want to do this for about 1/2 inch or so. Bring this over a little bit. Now what I'm doing at this point is I'm just bringing this over. So I've brought this all the way around, and I'm just going to create a little swirl at the end. And this one I want to be pretty small because I don't want it to cover up too much of the stone. So I'm going to trim this off. Grab my round nose pliers. Create a swirl. Now once I got my little swirl, I'm going to bring this down around the long side a little bit, and I'm going to take this tail piece and I'm going to wrap it around both the swirl and this base wire a couple times, just so it holds that swirl in place. There's once. Do it one more time. Like so. And I'm going to keep wrapping and swirling. You can see I have quite a bit of extra wire here, and that's okay. how much more do I need? Not much. So I'm going to cut off about 1/4 of an inch from the side of the stone there, and that's kind of my guide. And just keep coiling this wire. That. Actually, I think I'll go ahead and cut it off at the stone because I don't know if I want a very long one. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little pull and twist, pull off this extra wire, grab my round nose pliers and create a swirl on this end as well. You can have this off to the side, you can have it down the center, however you like it. Just going to adjust that a little bit. So this is just one with a short fat stone. I personally like the really long stones, but that's me personally. Now I'm going to move on to the next one, and we're going to do the same thing. So with this last part, we're going to go ahead and take it to the back and just coil this wire, and we're just doing a mirror image of the first earring. So here are the finished earrings. Now at this point, all you need to do is add a jump ring, which they're really easy to make. You just grab some excess wire that you had from your project and wrap them around your round nose pliers. And I'm just going to wrap them probably a couple times. Grab your flush cutters with the flush side facing one direction. Turn the wire. And turn your flush cutters so that way you get flush on both sides of the jump ring. See? Nice and flush. And then do the same thing with this one. I'll put this down first. And trim. Turn and trim. So we got nice flush sides. Open her up, stick her on. There's one. Do that with the other one. And stick it on. And there are your earrings. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below as I try to get to them as quickly as I can. You're also welcome to sign up for the Learn to Weave newsletter if you'd like to have tips and tutorials sent directly to your email inbox. You're also welcome to sign up for the free Facebook group. Down below in the description is a link to check that out. And if you're just starting this wire weaving journey, you're welcome to check out the beginner wire weaving course, which kind of just goes over the very basics as well as including some tools and instructions that are going to be really helpful to you, especially if you don't know what types of wire to get, what types of tools to use. Also includes things like a basic pricing calculator, so if you are wanting to sell your pieces, you have a calculator included that will automatically calculate everything so you make sure you are making a profit. And also, if you'd like to learn more about the Artisan Tutorial Vault, I have left a link in the description below so you can learn more there. And until next time, happy weaving.